Hello everyone, back to the channel. My name is mkanu, which you all know, and all of you guys know what we try to do. We try to expose American companies and businesses to Africa, and also be able to do the connection of African companies to the United States. But today we have a very important guest with us, and he's no other than NAHSHON NICKS. So by the way, NAHSHON NICKS is running for office, and he's running for office in Jacksonville to be the president of the
City Council at large.
City Council at large. Is it a president or City Council at large?
Well, hopefully once in office, I'm able to be elected president of the City Council.
Oh, the City Council. Well, you have to be there first. So he's running to be City Council at large. And man, when I'm telling you, we have a special brother with us, and he's doing some great things in the community. But first, I want us to start by just asking NAHSHON NICKS, who is NAHSHON NICKS?
Okay, originally from Syracuse, New York.
Okay.
Been in Jacksonville for close to 30 years. I grew up in a broken home. My biological father spent most of my youth in prison in Attica up in New York. My mother struggled with substance abuse.
Okay.
My stepfather came along and took our blended family from New York to Jacksonville, and I'm so glad that he did. But needless to say, the same drugs in New York were the same drugs in Jacksonville. My mother passed from fentanyl in 2020.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
Thank you. And I don't say that to solicit anyone's sympathy. I say that because I can't speak for our African population, but I want to help counter this, and I want to help protect families. I want to be preventative and proactive, but in order to do that, I'm going to need everybody's support. My wife is retired Navy. She fought for our country for 22 years. And I'm very grateful to all of our veterans, and thank you. I will make sure she gets your regards. And I'm a girl dad. I have 3 beautiful daughters.
Awesome.
And
I met one of them already.
Yes.
She's so cute, by the way.
Yes. That's our youngest one, who happens to be special needs. Her nickname is Sparkles. And
you said actually she's the most famous baby because of the campaign and everything.
Yeah. Typically, she's in my arm when we're going door to door and just meeting the community. And basically, my values around faith, family, and community. And my platform is number 1, public safety, number 2, affordable housing, and number 3, economic development.
Good. So guys, just like I told you, we have an awesome guy here. First of all, just to get this interview with him was a great pleasure for me, because I know how busy you are, and to be able to track you and be able to give us this opportunity to have this interview with you, I want to really say thank you. And but I'll actually give some information later on the video, and also I'll put some of the information on our website and also on YouTube, to see who wants to support in different ways and means, and they can do that. But first, secondly, I also want to know, what is the office that you're running for?
Okay. Now in Jacksonville, we have a consolidated government. I'm running for an at-large seat. So most city council people only cover certain neighborhoods. I'm running to cover the entire county, which is Duval. So we say Duval. It's a thing. It's a thing. So Duval is a county, Jacksonville is a city. So I'm running to represent Baldwin, the beaches, north side, south side, east side, west side, all of Duval County. And with that, I will be a policy maker, a policy shaper, a legislator. But my constituency would be close to 1 million people.
Can you imagine that? So by the way, those of you that don't know, Jacksonville is in Duval County. So, and Jacksonville is the largest city land-wise in the United States. So there is no city that is as large as Jacksonville when it comes to city-wise. So now,
over 800 square miles. Over 800 square miles.
So can you tell us about Jacksonville?
Yes. Well, like I said, for me, I love this city, and I run a nonprofit, and we look at Jacksonville as our Jerusalem. There's only 2 rivers in the world that flow north. That's the Nile River, and that's the St. Johns River, and the St. Johns River is right here in Duval. Jacksonville it has the highest concentration of African Americans out of any other city in the state of Florida. There's over 300,000 African Americans. Where I want to come in is help build a unified front, meaning that being able to make sure that we're doing good business, we're properly represented in local government, providing a voice to the voiceless, and a lot of our challenges pertaining to violent crime is typically in the Black and brown communities, but I believe that we can help counter this with collaboration. Obviously, you being from Sierra Leone, exposure broadens perspective.
That's true.
And just being able to expose them to their roots, expose them to other cultures, expose them to other opportunities. It's really opening up their mind is something that's very important to me pertaining to our city. When we look at business, this is probably one of the best cities in America for startup businesses.
That's actually where I want you to hit.
Yes. Here in Jacksonville, we have what you'll call JSEB, J-S-E-B, Jacksonville Small Emerging Businesses. As a city council person, my goal is to make sure that small businesses have an opportunity to have a seat at the table. Meaning when it comes to procurement, bids, and contracts. You have Jacksport. Jacksonville does 95% import and 5% export. I just saw that you all are doing a huge build out with a Turkish company in Freetown, and like I said, so I try to stay abreast of what's going on with Sierra Leone because I really love having sister cities, and if there's a way that we may be able to do partnerships where it comes to flagships from Jacksonville to Sierra Leone, or vice versa from Sierra Leone into Jacksonville, it opens everybody up to new markets for trade and travel. Another thing is we have the Jaguars. We're about to do a huge stadium build out. It's already priced at $550 million. So when it comes to locally owned and operated businesses, I want to see how we can help plumbers, pipe fitters, electricians, concrete, like just opportunities to be able to help create generational wealth. And then we have the airport. We have an international airport that doesn't fly anywhere international. And they say the reason why we don't have an international airport is not because we don't have the build out for customs. We have the build out for customs, but we're not necessarily a destination city. But when you come into our city, when you come into my city, you can spend a day at the river. You can spend a day at the beach.
Yes.
You can spend a day downtown. You can spend a day in the historic areas.
That's true.
And then you can also spend a day watching the Jaguars play. So we want you to feel comfortable. We want you to feel safe. And we want you to, to feel like you're a part of the city when you come in to Duval.
So you see, one of the reasons why I really wanted to interview our brother here, he has so much heart for the African community, and all you guys all know that this is a channel that promotes companies and businesses in America to be able to do business in Africa. And actually I'll be heading to DC to interview some senators, governors, mayors in DC to kind of get their perspective of what is their plan for the continent of Africa. One of the problems that we have is, like, for example, in the US they make laws and regulations based on to kind of counter different issues that we have in Africa. But the problem that they have is this: it's most of those senators, those governors, those congressmen, they don't even understand what Africa is. They don't even know, whether some of them, if Africa is a continent or country or something like that. So I want to see how light can be shed, and some of the senators and governors and congressmen to be able to understand that these laws they are setting, this is how it's going to impact the population in Africa. That's why the interest that you've shown. By the way, he has tasted some of the local dish. He was able to taste some cassava leaf. It was
delicious, delicious.
And by the way, we have a lot of Americans, African Americans. The right term for those people that have come from Africa that are citizens in the United States. You have a huge population of them actually in Jacksonville, and not just in Jacksonville, because I started doing some research, and they have most of the ones that are in Duval County are more educated, so like the more educated Africans are coming down towards Jacksonville, just like in PG County, Prince George's County, which is the largest and most educated black county. So when I did some research, I see so many Nigerians, and I was able to talk to some Kenyans. And so what this brother is doing, guys, please, and I never tell you to support anybody, but when I tell you now to be able to support our brother here, whether it's in finance, whether it's in help calling, those of you that are in Jacksonville, because I know a lot of you that are going to be watching this video that are in Jacksonville. So however you can help our brother, because when you have somebody that is in the table that represents our wants and our desires and some of the problems that we face, it is going to be very good. And we have an opportunity to be able to send our brother that can be able to represent us, because he has so much heart. One of the things I like when we were talking, how you were talking about the sister cities that you want to create, when you take office, and also some of the Africans that have come to the United States that are now Americans. I know a lot of them that have businesses, and they don't know how to access finance. They don't know how to access some of those government grants. I like what you said about how you can you put something together in order to make it easier for those businesses, those companies to be able to access some government grants, even some private grants. So can you please just share a little bit of light on that?
Yes. So I do apologize. Here in Jacksonville, it's spring and we have pollen everywhere. So please forgive my allergies. So you have CDBG dollars, Community Development Block Grant dollars, which typically comes from the federal government. So the money comes from the federal government based on the taxes, then it comes to the state. Then the state breaks it down, and then you have what you'll call appropriations. Then those appropriations come to the city. And then now you have city funds, which are supposed to be designated to certain communities. And then my job as a policymaker and a legislator is to see how we can best use these funds to help make our city better. And then at the same time, when we look at businesses, we want to make sure that we're doing good business pertaining to capacity building, making sure that we're linking people up with capabilities, and then access to capital. So the trade-offs are obviously that if you are certified to do business, whether it's a disadvantaged business, a minority business, and obviously if you're of African descent or of an American of African descent, you automatically qualify as just meeting the paperwork to be able to get those credentials. And then once that happens, now you're able to do business within the state. So even if this is not a good market for you, it doesn't mean that all that work was in vain. It just means that we gotta help you with putting the right team together for that team in agreement to be able to do more business. And that's anything from venture capitalists, manufacturing, construction, housing, retail. Like the market is wide open. The market is wide open, and the terms that we use is public-private partnership. Public meaning the government, private meaning your individual business, and then partnership to see how can we make this a win-win. And those are the type of relationships, and that's the type of policy I would like to keep pushing.
By the way, guys, we had we had a meeting with our brother here, some of some members of our community. We were able to meet with him, and we discussed some of the issues that they had. One of the brother had to, lost his business to a bigger company here. He's a U.S. citizen. He was hiring over 100 or 200 employees and all of that stuff. But the problem that he had, he was not able to access certain funds. And when you said, you can access this fund, because he definitely have the credential, he would have got that money to be able to subsidize and be able to pay his workers, but because he was not able, and when our brother said that, a lot of members of the community, they were like, oh man, we should have applied for this and more. Can you imagine? We should have been doing very well during the COVID, because a lot of people didn't even know how to apply for COVID grants.
So, from a biblical standpoint, just to make sure that everybody understands, I'm also a pastor. I'm not running for public office for private gain. I'm running because I believe this is what God has placed on me. Mm-hmm. Luke 2:49, it says, "How is it that you look for me when you know I must be about my Father's business?" Mm-hmm. And now I do preach in a pulpit, mm-hmm. but to be hyper-focused, mm-hmm. My business came from Isaiah 1:17. Mm. It says, learn to do what is right. Mm. Seek justice and defend the oppressed. So justice is making sure those who need the most help get it. Or those who desire the most help get it. So it's not like charity. This is not charity. No. These are trade-offs, meaning that we're trying to make sure that we're doing good business, and we're educating our people, because the book also says my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. So we have a Department of Economic Development. Another thing that I would also suggest or maybe even recommend, because I did meet with our Nigerian brothers and sisters. I also met with our Kenyan brothers and sisters, Sierra Leone brothers and sisters, Ethiopian brothers and sisters. And these are just the ones that I've met. I've also sat down with the Puerto Rican and Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, the Jacksonville Chamber of Commerce. And the thing is that there's unity in diversity.
That's true.
But if we're not working together, meaning that you may have that missing ingredient for everybody to win.
Yes.
So everybody has something to offer, and everybody has a role to play in order to make this happen. And like I said, it also ties into the values and the missions of that organization. With Africa, I believe you all have NGOs, non-government organizations, I think is what you call them. Over here we call them nonprofits or for-profit businesses. But being able to tie an NGO with a for-profit or an NGO with a nonprofit, that expands into totally different markets and territory. Just being able to work that, and even when you look at land acquisition, with land acquisition. People are looking for places for vacation homes. We use the term Airbnbs here in America, where you have all these beautiful homes. We're in what you would call Springfield, Jacksonville, where these older homes, two-story homes, typically 4 to 8 bedrooms, where people will rent them out for a weekend or a week at a time.
Yeah, they do have a lot of Airbnbs in Africa now.
But people may think that they can't afford to go to Africa, but we haven't developed the relationship to even know that we can do this.
That's true.
So, but then when you're looking at ownership, meaning that if we're able to pool resources and intellectual property to be able to, create our own, and I'm just using this as an example, our own Disney World, our own Disneyland, for families to be able to spend a week or a month in Africa and then come back home. But to where these destination cities and sister cities become mutually beneficial. We're bringing our U.S. dollar to your, I don't know what the currency term is over there.
To your leons, naira, depending on safer, like for French countries. And now, it's just to buttress from what you said. I just came from a conference, high school conference, like it's entrepreneurial high school conference. It was hosted in Orlando, Disney World, by the way, the Hilton Hotel. So I was part of the judge team to judge some of these businesses and these ideas. And I was so intrigued by these ideas that young people have when it comes to technology, different industries. So now I was able to talk to one of the directors, and we're trying to put something together where they can have competitions in Africa, and like maybe the best fives from different parts of countries can be given visas to come to the United States and participate, because the largest one is going to be in California in April, where we're expecting over 8,000 students with different business ideas. So if we're able to bring those Africans, because now my travels, I've seen a lot of opportunities that young people have, discoveries that young people have be able to achieve, but they don't have any way to showcase them, to have the dollar and the money to support their ideas. So if we're able to bring those, something like that, if we can create that kind of pipeline, be able to connect sister cities, like the idea that you have, and even having the time to us, for even us to have this conversation, because most of the time Africa has been treated in a way where we are like the desolates, we are the destitutes, we are like the minority, or we don't even care about them. And guess what? All the resources, most of the resources are coming from the continent. But then the continent has been left to rot so bad that that's why when you talk about corruption, I said no, you just don't see it from one end. You have to see it in different ends. And so when we started talking and you started pinpointing and started making those ideas how Africa can be able to merge with Jacksonville, Florida. By the way, when we talk about Jacksonville, Florida, we have a huge port. He just mentioned it when he started, but can you just lay a little bit of emphasis on the ports before we
So with our port, one of the things that I can see in our future is when I was listening to the Kingians, they were talking about warehouses. Now, but they're talking about doing warehouses and break bulk in Orlando. When you start talking about trying to acquire land in Orlando for warehouses, you're looking at paying top dollar. Whereas Jacksonville is the most land-rich city in the country. So we have the land, and then you work with land use and zoning to be able to bring in those warehouses, and then we tie it into job creation. It becomes a win-win-win situation. So obviously, when you look at turnaround, when I talk to truck drivers that have to go from New York into Miami, they're looking at a delay of close to 24 hours just to offload and reload. Okay, but Jacksonville is so unique is that I-95 takes you from Canada to Miami, and then I-10 takes you from LA, Los Angeles, California, to Jacksonville, Florida, and I-95 and I-10 intersect in Jacksonville. So if you want to go all the way west, all the way north, or all the way south, Jacksonville is that hub for intermodal distribution. So we also have a rail with CSX. We have the river, we have access to the ocean, and we have an international airport. So when it comes to distribution, when it comes to warehousing, and when it comes to break bulk, I can really see Jacksonville being that feature city to be able to do great business.
Man, and you said it right and so good, because I just came back from Africa. We took about 15 Florida companies,
and I wasn't one of them. I'm just saying, keep going.
So we took about 15 Florida companies to Senegal.
Okay.
They were so excited to see the opportunities that are open for them to expand, their business in Africa. When you talk about logistics and freight, one of the companies that went was Crowley. Crowley is like the largest. They're the largest that the U.S. government uses to move back and forth there.
What you call I don't know the term, but it's like large freight. So yes, they do move a lot of large freight into Jacksonville, especially with our heavy equipment. Yes, they do.
And they are in Jacksonville. So when we sat down with some of the mayors in Senegal, and they are so interested in going to Africa.
So for Jacksonville, Maxwell Coffee, Budweiser, Swisher Sweet, their headquarters is right here. Coach, Purse, Bacardi, their headquarters is right here in Jacksonville. And then when you look at fulfillment centers pertaining to Amazon, we have 3 fulfillment centers throughout our city with Amazon. So Jacksonville is we're slowly becoming the bold new city of the South, which is what our theme is. But it starts and ends with leadership. I'm just one person, so this is not a one woman or a one man show. So I don't want to have a whole bunch of promises that I can't fulfill, because it's not about transactional relationships. This is going to come through collaboration and partnership. So the same support that you ask these people to give me to get in office, I'm going to need that same support in order to get stuff done while in office.
Okay. And by the way, please guys, if I know you're going to have a lot of people from Jacksonville that are going to be watching this video, that are going to be listening to us. So guys, please come out and vote. Come out and vote. Don't just sit in the house and say, okay, this thing is happening. None of the candidates that I've spoken to that have the hearts for Africa, like him, and I'm going to also interview one of the mayor candidates. So if you are an African, and of course, which most of my viewers in Jacksonville are, please guys, you can come out and vote. And not just vote, you can support in different ways. I'm going to put some of the information of this campaign on this YouTube, and also we're going to also do Instagram and also in Facebook, so for you to support. So we got to support our brother. We got to support, because we have to do that. You know, when we're able to put somebody in the office, we're able to kind of bring forth our ideas, what concerns us. And as you can see, as you can hear him, you can see how passionate he is. And he's the two, right now the front runner. He's part of the 2 front runners, and we are hoping, not just hoping, but we are believing that he's going to stop that front runner, and we are going to have our, county, city council at large is going to be NAHSHON NICKS. Now, brother, can you, what are some of the last words that you have to tell, the African community here in Jacksonville that are in business, that I've seen they've gone through some issues, some problems, and because of those things that they've gone through, it has impacted their business, and they've kind of, stepped back, because I've had a lot of some of the African, business owners, they said they have to step back when it comes to business because of what COVID did, and they didn't know that there are funds that were provided for small businesses. What do you have for them?
This is not a turnkey operation, okay? Excuse me. And as I mentioned before, with the pollen in the air, my allergies are a little inflared, so I do apologize. We have training and development to help build that infrastructure and that capabilities to do a relaunch if that's what you desire to do, or if you desire to consult. So I would never say that you just give up on the dream. I wouldn't say that, because that's something that God gave you. And but like I said, there is a time and a season for everything, and a lot of things have shifted and adjusted. So I would not give up on that dream. I would see how we can either turn that into self-employment, how we could turn that to a small enterprise, or how we could turn it into a consulting firm. Now, I'm not necessarily running to be a business consultant. My goal is to see how our policies, our programs, our training is helping your business grow. So I think that's government's role, is to make sure that businesses can thrive in this city, because we all have something unique to bring. But we also have the SBA here in Jacksonville and the SBDC through
Small
UNF.
Business Association.
Yes, through University of North Florida. We also have Beaver Street Enterprise that's also doing a training program. You also have the Jax Chamber, the Chamber of Commerce. We also have the Department of Economic Development with the city of Jacksonville. So before you just throw in the towel, let's see how we can leverage relationships and leverage programs that are already in place that may be of no cost or low cost, to see how we can help you do great business. And like I said, if Jacksonville may not be the best market, that doesn't mean that Florida may not be the best market. It does not mean that this region may not be the best market. So sometimes you just have to kind of shift your approach. That's where I'm going. But I'm here to work with you through the different steps to get you where you want to be. There isn't any instant gratification, but we will be able to help you get across that goal line by working together in collaboration.
Okay. So what is the last word for your campaign that you want people to know?
Okay.
Before we come to close.
Election day is March 21st. Today is February 28th. In America, it's the last day of Black History Month. And I'm asking all of my brothers and sisters for your support. Ways that you can get involved, at Vote Nicks for Jax, at Vote Nicks for Jax, or at Nicks for Jax, or VoteNicksForJax.com. Please share a post, tell a family member, a friend. Early voting is going on right now, meaning that if you vote by mail, your ballot has already been mailed out to you. If you live in Duval County, if you live in Jacksonville, Florida, and I want to work for you. There is no do-overs, there's no redos. This only happens every 4 years. This is the primary election, so typically the top 2 candidates move on to the general election in May. I want to be one of those 2 for at-large Group 5. Another thing is early voting starts March 6th through March 19th. You can vote anywhere in Jacksonville, Florida, or anywhere in Duval County that they have an early voting precinct. Election day is March 21st. You can only vote at that election precinct, your designated precinct, on election day. So once again, contribute, donate, share, post, repost, reshare. Let's build that awareness. I'm number 5 on the ballot for at-large Group 5. I'm asking folks to punch 5 for at-large Group 5. I would like to close with a quote by James Weldon Johnson. It says, "Facing the rising sun of our new day begun, let us march on till victory is won." Thank you, and I love you.
Thank you, guys. So as you heard what our brother said, please go vote. Go vote. If you can do it right now, go ahead and do it. And let's support our brothers so that our interests, our concerns can be heard. Again, my name is Mo, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel, subscribe to our Facebook, our Instagram, because we're bringing a lot of good stuff to you. Just like I said, I'll be traveling to DC and be able to meet with some senators and talk to them about some of the issues that we are facing in Africa. And I believe that is going to have a great impact, because these are the people that are making laws and regulations that affect us. So, but please, for now, we are going to get our brother in that seat. Brother, thank you very much.
Thank you for this opportunity.
It was a great opportunity for me to be with you.
Thank you.
Contact us if you are interested in joining IXV International.